table topics mastery, to be more exact. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, it's the chance for us to practice impromptu public speaking. It's not simply impromptu speaking, as in talking to someone. It's speaking in front of an audience in an organized manner with a goal. I know you didn't think there was supposed to be a goal. It's not simply rambling on for at least a minute, though sometimes that's where some of us are in the process, and that's fine. But the goal is to deliver a short, on-the-spot speech that comes across as organized and purposeful. And that purpose could be simply to entertain your audience in some way, but it's more than just saying one word after another until the green light comes on. It can be a difficult task. Your job as Table Topics Master is to facilitate your participants accomplishing that task. It's not your job to, as I perhaps have appeared to do when I've been Table Topics Master, to befuddle or challenge your participants with tricky, poorly worded, confusing, or complicated prompts, which I'm sure some people could say I have done. So job number one for the Table Topics Master is to keep that objective firmly in mind. Your job is to assist your participants to successfully meet the challenge of sounding organized and purposeful in a 1 to 2 minute off-the-cuff speech. Although your participants will be speaking impromptu, you, as the Table Topics Master, should not be similarly off the cuff. You should be very deliberate. In fact, if you don't like giving Table Topics off-the-cuff speeches, volunteer to be Table Topics Masters. I've done it many times. Your participants will be struggling to bring instantaneous ideas and organization to their speech, even while fighting off the urge to tell you to shove it and sit back down. You can legitimately make their learning opportunity more productive by being organized and purposeful in your hosting your Table Topics session. I have 10 points that I've listed on the sheet for you there as you prepare for your role as Table Topics Master. First is connect to the meeting's theme. Hopefully your Toastmasters picked a theme and told you about it, and you can connect to that. And that's good. That's going to help people think of ideas because they're thinking along that theme. They've probably been thinking about it, and will have some more quickly come up with ideas. And remember that this portion of the meeting, for this portion of the meeting, you are the Master of Ceremonies. Just as the Toastmaster never leaves the podium unattended, greets and thanks each person that comes and leaves the podium, you must likewise greet and thank each Table Topics participant at the podium. And if you're a Table Topics participant, remember to wait when you're finished for your Table Topics Master to come up and greet you at the podium before you leave. Choose the content of your prompts. Consider how they'll stimulate your participants' imaginations. After you come up with a topic, try to look at it as that person you're calling on is going to look at it just seeing it for the first time. Can you think of something to say for 1 to 2 minutes about that topic? Is it clear? If it's not, revise it or throw it out and come up with another one. If you're wondering, well, how do I come up with these ideas? If your imagination fails you, Google will not. Google Table Topics ideas. They're more than you could imagine. You will pick one before you run out of the list. Remind your participants to talk for at least 1 minute until that green light comes on. Remind them to use the word of the day. Figure out how you're going to make sure you do that for your speakers, your participants, before they come up. You may want to do it to each one when they come up. Then how do you select your participants? Well, first, plan with your Toastmaster how many participants you have time for that meeting. If you have only one speaker, you'll have need for more. And be sure to have some extra prompts ready if you happen to run short on time or run long on time. Identify people with smaller parts in that meeting or no roles at all for that meeting so you know who you want to call on. You don't want anybody to go home without having a chance to speak. And make sure that they have a chance to do that. Have a more seasoned member deliver the first table topic presentation for that meeting. Then you can ask newer members and even a guest to volunteer. And ask the guest if they want to volunteer. Don't require them. Don't assume that they're going to come up just because you call them. That's really not fair for a guest. how are you going to call on participants? Well, or how are they going to speak? We've always done it, and I think it's a good idea to have the participants always come to the front of the room rather than sit at their, or stand at their seat or even remain seated. So I think that's pretty straightforward. And then delivering your prompts, there's a lot of different ways. You can just give your prompt to the member, but what I would do, what Connie suggests, my wife, she's a Toastmaster, and she likes to keep everybody on their toes to the last second. She says, don't identify who's getting this prompt until you're finished saying the prompt. And everybody then is on the edge of their seats listening because they don't know who it is. It might be them that you're going to call on for that prompt. You might write your question or instruction on a piece of paper alternatively, which you hand it to people or ask them to pick one out of a bag, or you might have an object that someone's going to talk about. Again, they could pick that out of a bag or you could hand it to them. I'm running out of time. Decide where you will stand or sit in between the speeches. You could sit to one side or stand to one side or along the side of the room or in the back, but try to be consistent so the speakers will know where you are. Determine what you'll say in between the speeches. Have some theme that, have some way to refer back to the theme and have something that connects. And of course, thank the participants for giving the speech. And then wrap up the session, thank all of the participants, again, connect back to the theme, and then turn the meeting back over to your Toastmaster, which I will do now.
Questions?
Questions? Richard?
If a guest is a former Toastmaster, are they more eligible?
I think if you mention it to them before the meeting, I think they'd be glad to do it. And I don't think you have to be quite as hesitant or tenuous about it. Yes?
Is there anything you've learned not to do or things to definitely avoid as a table topics master? Perhaps something you've seen?
Probably have a prompt that you think you're intrigued by. If you're intrigued by it, somebody else is probably just going to be confused by it. Which, that's from personal experience.
And political stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
Yeah,
generally true of Toastmasters in general.